It was a quiet Friday night in Maple Creek, a small town tucked between rolling hills and endless farmland. The streets were nearly empty, the storefronts dark, and the sound of rain tapping gently against the pavement was the only reminder that time was still moving. Inside Maple Creek High School, the halls were silent. Lockers lined the walls like empty sentinels, and the faint hum of fluorescent lights echoed through the corridors. Somewhere down the east wing, a classroom light still glowed. That light belonged to Laura Bennett, a 42-year-old English teacher loved by her students, respected by her colleagues, and adored by her small community. She was staying late, grading final essays for her senior literature class. She had told her friend she'd leave around 10, but she never made it home. By sunrise, her silver Toyota Corolla sat abandoned in the parking lot, the driver's door slightly open, her purse still inside, papers scattered across the front seat. There was no sign of Laura, no sign of a struggle, just gone. That single, quiet disappearance would unravel the peace of Maple Creek and expose the hidden secrets of a town that thought it knew its own people. So, what really happened to Laura Bennett? To understand what was lost that night, you have to know who Laura Bennett was. She grew up in Maple Creek, graduated from the same high school where she later taught. Friends say she was a dreamer, a poet, a listener, someone who believed deeply in the goodness of others. She never had children of her own, but she treated every student like family. Her classroom was a safe place, a room filled with handwritten quotes, worn-out books, and the faint smell of coffee and chalk. Her students adored her. She made everyone feel like they mattered. Even the quiet kids, she'd notice you. She never stopped believing in us. Laura was the kind of teacher who'd stay late just to help a student rewrite a paper. She didn't do it for recognition. She did it because she cared. To the outside world, Laura Bennett seemed to have it all together. But behind her easy smile, there were cracks beginning to show. Just months before her disappearance, Laura finalized her divorce from her husband of 10 years. Friends said it took a toll on her. She became more private and withdrawn. Some said she'd been distant lately. Others whispered about strange phone calls after school hours. But in Maple Creek, gossip traveled faster than the truth. And no one could have imagined that those whispers would soon become evidence. The day had been like any other. Laura taught 3 classes, met with a student for tutoring, and attended the weekly faculty meeting that ended just after 8:30 p.m. A co-worker recalled seeing her at the copier around 9 laughing, sipping from her thermos of tea, humming softly to herself. At 10:47 p.m., security footage captured Laura leaving her classroom with a stack of essays in her arms, keys in hand, and a faint smile on her face. It was the last image ever recorded of her alive. The next morning, at 7:12 a.m., the school janitor arrived for his early shift. He noticed Laura's car still in the parking lot. At first, I figured maybe she was inside, and the teacher stayed late all the time. But the door was cracked open, and the lights were off. When I looked inside, her purse was on the seat. Papers everywhere. It didn't feel right. Within an hour, the police were on scene. Detectives combed the school grounds. They searched nearby woods, questioned staff, and reviewed security footage frame by frame. But nothing. No sign of Laura leaving the property. No struggle. No forced entry. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. By noon, the story had hit the local news. The town of Maple Creek was in shock and fear. The Maple Creek Police Department launched what they call one of the largest investigations in county history. Dozens of volunteers joined search teams. Helicopters scanned the surrounding woods. Detectives quickly ruled out robbery. Nothing had been taken. Her wallet, jewelry, and phone were all untouched. So they began to look closer to home. Theory won the jealous coworker. Rumors began to swirl about tension between Laura and another teacher. Sandra Hines, a close friend turned rival after promotion, opened up in the English department. They had words that week. Sandra felt passed over. People said she left angry that day. But Sandra's alibi was that airtight security footage showed her at her son's basketball game 30 miles away at the exact time Laura disappeared. Then came the second theory, the obsessed former student. During a search of Laura's desk, police discovered several letters. They were unsigned, emotional, and disturbing. They read like love letters. Someone who clearly felt a deep attachment to her talking about how they couldn't live without her. The letters were traced to a man named Mark Ellis, a former student who graduated 5 years earlier. Neighbors reported seeing him loitering near the school at night. When questioned, Mark admitted he'd written the letters but denied harming Laura. His alibi checked out, and DNA found in Laura's car didn't match his. So detectives kept digging. That's when they found something far more shocking. A series of late-night phone calls from Laura's cell to a number registered to David Heller, the assistant principal of Maple Creek High. David was well known, married, 2 children, a respected member of the community. When questioned, he claimed the calls were work-related. But phone records told a different story. Dozens of calls over several months, sometimes past midnight. Friends of Laura recalled her mentioning a complicated relationship that she refused to talk about. She once told a friend, "If people found out, it would ruin everything." The pieces were starting to form a picture, and it wasn't a pretty one. Detectives obtained a warrant to search David Heller's office and home. In the bottom drawer of his desk, they found a single gold earring identical to the one Laura had been wearing the night she disappeared. And on the trunk lining of David's car, forensic teams found traces of Laura's blood. When confronted, David denied everything. But as the evidence grew, his story began to unravel. He kept saying it was an accident, that he didn't mean to hurt her. He just lost control. After 12 hours of questioning, David confessed. He told investigators that he and Laura had been in a secret relationship for nearly a year. She wanted to make it public. He refused. She threatened to tell his wife. On the night of March 12th, after the faculty meeting, Laura texted him to meet behind the school. They argued in the rain. She told him she couldn't keep the secret anymore, that she was tired of hiding. In a fit of anger, he grabbed her arm. She fought back. He pushed her. Her head struck the pavement. Panic set in. He dragged her body to his car, wrapped her in a tarp from the maintenance shed, and drove to an abandoned quarry just outside town. There, he buried her in a shallow grave and returned home before midnight. For 3 weeks, the town searched while the man who had taken her life walked freely among them. On April 2nd, 2019, police discovered Laura Bennett's remains exactly where David said they'd be. The case that began as a mystery ended in heartbreak. The news of Laura Bennett's death shattered Maple Creek. At her memorial, hundreds filled the high school gymnasium, students, parents, teachers, and neighbors lighting candles in her honor. Her classroom became a shrine. Sticky notes from students covered her desk, messages of love, gratitude, and grief. She was supposed to write me a college recommendation. I just can't believe she's gone. David Heller was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, tamper with evidence, and obstruction of justice. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison. His wife filed for divorce soon after. The school board resigned in disgrace for ignoring rumors that could have saved Laura's life. For Maple Creek, the scars ran deep. In the months that followed, the town's sense of safety and belief that it could never happen here was gone. But Laura's memory lived on. Her family established a scholarship fund for young writers in honor of her love for literature. Every spring, the graduating class reads her favorite poem at the ceremony. Do not go gentle into that good night. True crime stories often end with answers, but the story of Laura Bennett is more than that. It's a story about trust and how easily it can be broken, about how darkness can hide behind the brightest smiles. In Maple Creek, people still drive past the high school at night, and some say they can see the faint glow of a light in her old classroom, whether it's memory, imagination, or something else no one really knows. But everyone agrees on one thing. Laura Bennett changed the people around her in life and in death, and in a town that once believed evil couldn't exist among them. Her story became a haunting reminder that sometimes the most dangerous monsters aren't strangers in the dark, they're the ones we think we know. In Maple Creek, lessons were learned too late, because even in the kindest heart sometimes, secrets can kill.